I just want to turn the attention to the MTA for a moment because there's something in this budget, if I could find the exact page, in this bill. We're on page 50, line number 9. It says $30 million from Mass Transportation Operating Assistance Fund. That money is going to be used to be paid for debt. I believe the majority of the people in this chamber who live within the MTA territory signed on to a letter urging us not to raid operating funds, to use them to pay off debt. And similarly, I will say that in both 2011 and 2013, the people in this very House, in fact, everyone voted for this bill except for one person, and we can guess who that is. One person in both the Assembly and the Senate both voted for legislation that would create a lockbox that would prevent us from being able to raid any operating funds to use them for their non-intended purpose. So my question is, if the majority of the people support such a thing where we are not raiding operating funds for transportation, which is obviously very important, especially where we live in New York City, why are we then agreeing to include a $30 million sweep of MTA operating funds in this bill?
Why are we allowing a $30?
Yes.
Oh. I don't know which answer to give you. I gave one answer, and the answer to that one basically, when there's three people and one of them says no, no becomes the answer. So we could not, we would like to have taken it back also, if not to give it to them. There are a lot of things they could do with it, but we didn't. So that's what we came up with.
Okay, well, I will just make the argument that in 2010, this legislature voted to take a In 2010, this legislature voted to take $120 million from the operating fund of the MTA and to use it for debt to pay for, not even debt, just the general fund, just for whatever other purposes. That led to, in my district, now this was before I was elected, and that's actually one of the reasons why I ran for office, was because we lost significant bus service in my district as a result, and throughout the city of New York. We saw the tolls on the bridges of the MTA increase. We saw the fares for our bus and transit increase. And then in 2013, we did the same. That's last year. We imposed another $20 million that we took from operating, put it towards other purposes. And then this year, I see we're doing the same thing, $30 million to pay for operating funds that we're using to pay for other purposes. Can you tell us what those other purposes are?
What did we put in there? I think we just put it into the pool. We did it for debt service, paying bonds, but we couldn't get anybody else to join us.
Okay.
You know, we did the $10 million that we saved from the 40 to the 30. We put that into bonds. Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Farrell, what I will say is this is the argument that I've been making for today when I've gotten up to speak throughout this debate, is that we keep on issuing debt for things we can't afford, and then the bill comes, we've got to find a way to pay for it, and then we raid operating funding. And as a result, we will probably see more bus service cut in the district. We will probably see more fares and toll increases throughout the region of the MTA. And what I would also say is that the MTA does not have a history of being sustainable when they issue their own capital debt. So right now, they're in $32 billion deficit, and when we look at their capital plans, similarly, we see that projects, and to my good friends in Long Island, not to be negative on the project itself, but just the way that it was underprojected. In 2000, it was supposed to be due in 2009, the Long Island Access project, and at a cost of $4.3 billion. And instead, now, it is projected for 2023 at a cost of $10.8 billion. I don't know anybody else in government, in business, in a household that could underproject something by 14 years and $6.5 billion but the MTA. So my argument is if we could, when we look at the MTA fiscal plan of 2015, if we could try to make sure that it's conservative, and it's paying for projects that it really should be paying for, and not and working within their own timeline. And we should be doing the same in this state. So, with that said, I just want to urge my colleagues that
Finished with me?
I'm finished with you, Mr.
Thank you
Farrell.
very much.
Thank you. With that said, I just want to urge my colleagues to note that this is a bad bill that takes $30 million from the MTA, and I hope you'll vote against it. Thank you.